Good afternoon, DFS Army. How's everybody doing? It's Cash Cade coming at you. I haven't done a video in a couple days, so I thought I would touch on FanDuel building a player pool for MME or just building a player pool to pick from to build cash games from. There's multiple ways to do it, so I'm just going to show you one way that I do to build my original player pool before we see news and things hit. First off, DFS Army, if you use code CashCake, you can now get 20% off instead of 10% off. So come on over and join us and see what we have to offer. I'm going to use our domination station here to kind of go through the positions and how I build my pool that I'll start with. And like I said, it's almost 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here, so things are going to change within the next 6 hours or whatnot, but hopefully this helps just building a good base. Let's get into this real quick. So if you go over here to our domination station, you got FanDuel, NBA, main slate. And the first thing I do when I do this is I will uncheck everybody. I don't want anyone in my pool. And again, so it looks like with the exclusions that we do have, we got 195 players to choose from, and then we have 0 right here. So when I'm building a pool for a 6-game slate, I'm looking to have anywhere from 28 to 32 folks in my pool. And I'm also looking to, in that pool, like I usually do when I pick a core, maybe the core's 2, maybe it's 4. I'll be 70 to 80% on those 4 guys. And then the rest, I'll set exposure to, say, 50% as the max for the rest of them. And then we'll tweak some things as you build it. But just for reference of the pool here, I'm just going to go off of kind of how I pick players and just one way to do it. Like I said, there's a ton of ways to do this, but this is just one way. So for reference to this, I'm going to go off of just kind of picking a pool off players just in good spots against teams in poor defensive efficiency at each position with FanDuel. DraftKings is a little different because of the multi-position eligibility. You're going to have to go things a little different there, but on FanDuel, when we know point guard's point guard, shooting guard, and so forth, it's a little bit easier to do. What's up, T? If you got any questions while I do this, please ask, and I'll answer as I go along here. But let's first start out point guard. And the worst 3 defensive teams, defense efficiency tonight, are Atlanta, Chicago, and Phoenix. So, of course, we got Russell Westbrook going up against Atlanta in the worst point guard, or the best point guard matchup on the board. Atlanta's the worst. To me, he's probably going to be a core play because we do have some value here with Atlanta. Jeremy Lin actually just got moved as I was pulling all this stuff up. He just got bumped from probable to doubtful. So that kind of changes a few things as well. We'll go over that as I go through these positions. But yeah, Russell Westbrook's definitely going to be in the pool. He's in the best matchup here. He's probably going to be a core piece. And that's where I would set him probably 70, 80% if he's going to be in my core and we think he's going to be the value. Even if he's going to be popular on a 6-game slate, you probably will still see him around 50 to 60. So there's still range to get over the field on him. With Chicago, of course, being the 28th, then we got Lonzo Ball, so we'll throw him in there. And then the next one is Phoenix, they're 23rd in defense efficiency. And so we have Corey Joseph, and we got Darren Collison. Both are questionable, but Indiana seems to do that a lot with their guys being questionable and they end up playing. So let's click on Corey Joseph, and then I'll click on Darren Collison as well. Like I said, we can always adjust later, but if you're building a pool, it's good to just have a set piece before all the news breaks. Because if you're trying to build this thing as news hits, it's a lot harder to. So let's start with that. And then another piece of news with Minnesota. Looks like Teague's questionable, but went through shoot around. And I think Rose is going to play. But again, we'll look at those. So we'll add Rose and Teague in these. It's going to hurt them a little bit because they split time if they both play. But we'll just throw them in here at first, just to throw them in the pool. And then we get the next one is Milwaukee. We got Miami Heat. Milwaukee's 11th in defensive efficiency. And so you're looking at, I'm not going to put Lynn in here just because with him going doubtful. And then let's go down to, who was I just talking about here? With Miami. So yeah, with Miami, they don't really have the point guard here because Winslow's their point guard. So he's actually a small forward. So I'm just going to go over here and give him a click because he's actually the point guard. And then back to Atlanta. So if Jeremy Lin sits, Trae Young is in a bad position as Oklahoma City's ranked third against point guards. And so it's a really hard position. But if Jeremy Lin is out, he might be forced to play close to 40 minutes. And Bembry might be playing backup point guard or somebody else like that. So just for that, I'm going to click him in here just for minutes. And then, yeah, like I said, there's different. You can add some of these guys if you want to, but we already have 8 players of our pool just in point guard, so we might have to whittle them down quite a bit. But I'd start off with this. So let's go to shooting guard. Shooting guard, again, it's Atlanta. They're ranked second to dead last against shooting guard. So, we got Dennis Schroeder. And then the next best matchup is against Phoenix. So if those guys are both out, Oladipo is in the next best matchup. And then the next is the Lakers. So we got Zach LaVine, with the Lakers being ranked 26 against shooting guard. And then Miami is ranked 23rd. So we'll look at the Bucks here with Chris Middleton. Now, we also have to think of some other things as well, like with Kevin Huerter. If Lynn's going to sit and the way Kevin's been playing, at that price, you're just going to have to think of him as being a good play. So, can you put him in the pool? Sure. But we're already up to 13 guys. And some of these positions where tend to be center, but not always, but you might only play 2 or 3 centers. There might be positions you have 12 guys in your pool for, say, a shooting guard or small forward, but then your power forward range might be real small. So I kind of like to add them all at first and kind of see where we're at, and then see some of the guys we can drop, or might not drop, but might be just 10 percenters and might not be the guys that might be your tier 2 plays after your core, where you're setting those guys within maybe the 30 to 40% benchmark of your pool. So then we have the Jimmy Butler narrative going back to Minnesota. Tibbs is gone, but if you believe in narratives in that game's sitting at, I think, one of the highest, second highest on the slate. It's a 230 over under. That's the 6-point spread. So we got to put Butler in there just for that. With all the issues he had going back to Minnesota, it's hard not to put him in there, regardless of matchup. And then, like I said, then we got Chicago. Chicago's ranked 15th against shooting guard, so we can look at maybe Josh Hart. And I'm going to leave the rest of this out. Let's see, we're already up to 15. So let's look at small forwards. Small forwards, that's how you attack OKC as small forwards. And we already talked about DeAndre Bembry might have to get, he might be point guard, which would hurt, or he could just run some point and with him and Trae Young on the court at the same time. So we're going to click him just because he could run. He's going to get some run regardless. And then we have Minnesota being 27th ranked in defense efficiency. So we look at small forwards with Philly, which is basically Butler. Redick is their shooting guard. And Butler's really their 3. So we'll throw Redick in there, and then like I said, Butler's really their small forward, so we'll throw him in there even though he's at shooting guard. And then we have the Lakers. Again, the Lakers and Phoenix and Atlanta are your next three. So you have to look at Paul George. We got to look at Ingram with where the Lakers are against Chicago. Chicago is ranked second against small forwards, but you got to take that with a grain of salt with LeBron James being out. So, when he's in there, it's a completely different defense. And so some of the numbers are not going to, be truthful to you with some of these injuries. So you got to take that with a grain of salt and think about that when you're doing it. So if we're looking at this, again, Phoenix is ranked 19th. So we got to look at Bojan. And then, see, now Indy's ranked 6th against small forwards, but we have a decent price on TJ Warren. I'm going to leave him off here right now just because of the matchup. I think the majority of my lineups will probably be Paul George and Bembry. So you got to make some hard choices here. But I would look at that. And then the last one here, if you're going to do a spend up, would be Kevin Durant against Denver. That's one of the ways to beat Denver is through small forward. So it could be a big game for him and a good matchup, something that could be maybe the Western Conference Finals. So yeah, again, Gary Harris is right there too. And then no one's going to own Giannis today. If you wanted to play him, put him in the pool, I completely understand because he can go off against anyone. Against Miami, but I'm just gonna kind of stay away from my pool. But I get it because I'm gonna spin up on Westbrook and probably Paul George. But he'd be a contrarian play if you wanted to play him. So yeah, we're at 21 already. So let's go over to power forward, and one of my favorite power forward plays. Well, Spellman, he's gonna be real chalky today, and he's 3,500, and he should be in your cash lineups. With Dedmon doubtful. Lynn's probably going to play, and he could start because they need to go big against Adams. But that doesn't mean we couldn't see Spellman even off the bench. Or we see Collins take the 5 and they put Spellman at the 4 and start him like they did last game. So we just gotta have to look out for that. But at 3,500, he's your punt when you build these lineups for cash. And if he does start, you might even look at a different place to punt, just because he can outpace that pretty well, and then he wouldn't be your drop score. So he definitely goes in the pool just to be in at 3,500. But the best another good place to attack Atlanta is power forward again. So Jeremy Grant. Now I don't mind spending down at this position at all. With some of the other guys we're looking at, this right here could be your cash power forward slot with Grant and Spellman, just because of price and then the best matchup. And then Philly is ranked 21st in defense efficiency against power forwards, and we got 2 of them here with Taj Gibson and Saric. Taj is a little more safe, just the minutes that he's been getting, and Saric is kind of all over the place, so he's more just a tournament play only. But we'll just click both of them here. If we're doing mass multi-entry, we can definitely throw a few of them in here. And then let's see here. The next would be the Lakers. Chicago is ranked 19th, so of course we got Kuzma. So we'll throw him in the pool. And then now the Lakers are actually 23rd in defense efficiency against centers. They're the strongest. They're second in the league against power forwards. However, with Chicago, any one of these guys could run the 5 here. Wendell Carter Jr. could. Markkanen, he could run the 4 or the 5. And those numbers again are up there like that because when LeBron James is in there, the defensive numbers will inflate towards that. So I don't mind running all 3 of these here. In this matchup, it's a little tough because, with Portis back, it throws a wrench into things. So I'm just going to click all 3 right now, and then you can bust your ownership depending on when you get to that point of where you want them at. Again, John Collins is a strong play. Not the best matchup with, what is it here? OKC is ranked 11th, so it's not too bad. And we can see what he can do. You know, if he goes run the 5 and goes up against, we have to see where the starting lineup is. But if he goes up against Adams and say they put John Collins at the 5, I really don't have a whole lot of interest in him. But if they run Lynn, they start Lynn at the 5, if Dedmon's out, and they roll Collins at the 4, then I have interest in him for sure up against Grant. So we'll just throw him in the pool right now. Let's see if there's anyone else I would throw in here at power forward. Oh, another thing we have to kind of wait on is Miles Turner. If Miles Turner's out, then again, Sabonis will probably start the 5 again. And even though he is at a power forward, he's really a center. So Phoenix is dead last against centers. And so I'm just going to put him in the pool because of that. And then with Booker being back, all this Phoenix value is gone with like Josh Jackson starting and Holmes and all that. That's just all completely gone. So it really all hinges upon with the Sabonis play. At his price at $8,000, he needs Turner to be out. If Turner's in, I don't really have no interest in him at that price. He won't get as many minutes, and so we really have to see if Turner's in or out. But I'll throw him in the pool just so he's in there, and we can always just uncheck his name if Turner does play for Indy. So we'll leave him in there. And again, there's other plays you can click here for sure, but our pool is already up to say 31, so it's about at the top end, and you got to make some choices. You know. And with games too is like, again, we have Millsap and Green going up against each other, which their prices right now, they could exceed value, they could not. That game could go crazy. So, you know, they're good plays. You could throw them in the pool for sure. Then our pool's we'll throw them in there, but our pool's already up to 33. And then it's center. So again, center with the Pacers, we already threw Sabonis in the pool. If Miles Turner does play at $7,000, he's a good GPP play, so I'll just throw him in here. And then we got the Lakers with Chicago. Chicago's ranked 28th in defensive efficiency, so there's JaVale McGee at 5,900. You always worry about his minutes if he's going to play a ton, but with Chicago's size, they'll probably have to play him, and he's really efficient with his minutes. So at that price, I don't mind him at all. And then the same thing, like I said, with the Lakers with Chicago. When we basically put all those guys are power forwards, so we loaded up on them guys. Robin Lopez, I have no interest in. He just doesn't get any minutes. So all those plays for Chicago against, you know, the Lakers at center are all power forwards, and we all added them in. Again, the next team would be Golden State's 21st against centers, and we all know, you know, the Joker and what he can do. And so the Joker put up a ton of points last game, and you know, he'll want to get up for this moment to go after Golden State. So he's got to make your pool here. And then you have Atlanta again. They're 20th. So we got Steven Adams. And then the game with, again, Joel Embiid and Jokic both being the same price. You know, I prefer, I think, Jokic than I do Embiid, even though it's a great matchup, but he's got to make the pool. So I think my pool would be at center, maybe this, and we're sitting at 38 guys on our pool right now. So this is a good starting point. Let's say 38 guys in your pool. You can definitely, you know, like I said, drop some. You'll mess with their exposures. You might want to have a pool of 35 guys or 38 or 40, but say 5 to 10 of those guys you're only going to have say 5 to 10% of. So they're not going to be in that tier 2 range where you're running, you know, 30 to 40% of them, and then your core of say 4 guys where you're running 70. So again, that's a good start of the pool. Make sure you check news. Make sure you, as things will adjust with news, guys will come out of the pool. Some guys will go into the pool. But I always recommend if you can set a pool before the news hits and before you start digging into information, it gives you a good base to start off of. not even just doing MME, but just starting to say pick your cash plays from, and then you can run it and kind of see what lineups it gives you. Just running the domination station with your pool and see what kind of gives you and what it doesn't give you. So it's important to look. Again, have this pool set up before all that stuff comes out. I know a lot of people don't have the time to do it, but if you do, it's nice to have. So I hope that helped. If you could give me a like or a follow, I'd really appreciate it, either on Twitch or YouTube. And again, code CashCake will get you 20% off now at DFS Army. So again, hope this helped, and hope your screens are green tonight. Deuces.